Hello. I will begin with some words from Miriam Rose Ungama Bauman, and they might be familiar to you. She wrote them a little while ago. I will put a link in the notes so you can read them again later. This is what she says. My people are not threatened by silence. They are completely at home in it. They have lived for thousands of years with nature's quietness. My people today recognize and experience in this quietness the great life-giving Spirit, the Father of us all. It is easy for me to experience God's presence. When I am out hunting, when I'm in the bush, among the trees, on a hill or by a billabong. These are the times when I can simply be in God's presence. My people have been so aware of nature. It is natural that we feel close to the Creator. Our Aboriginal culture has taught us to be still and to wait. We do not try to hurry things up. We let them follow their natural course like the seasons. We watch the moon in each of its phases. We wait for the rain to fill our rivers and water the thirsty earth. When twilight comes, we prepare for the night. At dawn, we rise with the sun. We do not like to hurry. There is nothing more important than what we are attending to. There is nothing more urgent that we must hurry away for. We wait on God too. His time is the right time. We wait for Him to make His word clear to us. We don't worry. We know that in time and in the spirit of Dadiri, that deep listening and quiet stillness, His way will be clear. We are river people. We cannot hurry the river. We have to move with its current and understand its ways. So those words are from the great Australian Miriam Rose Ungama. And I wanted to read these beautiful and for some of you familiar words because it seems that white people like me have only just lately started to listen to the call of Indigenous communities, not just Australian Indigenous, but throughout the world, to listen to this call to live in a way that is more in tune with our natural environment, to pay attention to its rhythms, and to find through our attentiveness to the voice of creation that we are becoming more attentive to the voice of God. Now, I say it seems as though we've just begun to do that, but our readings today, every one of them, shows us that being in tune with our environment has been very much a part of our Judeo-Christian heritage right from the start. Not a part that's always been paid attention but it's always been there. It is not something new that we are learning for the first time from our Indigenous friends. It is something already in our tradition that we have needed to be reminded about and are grateful for that reminder. In our Genesis reading, we find Jacob on his way to find a wife to be his partner in building the family that will become a blessing to the whole world. He has recently gained his birthright by tricking his slightly older twin brother out of the birthright that was naturally his with a bowl of soup. Somehow, though, although he is sneaky and dishonest, God appears here to him and tells him that the promises made to Abraham and Isaac will continue to apply to him and his descendants. God is like that. As we've seen before, there was nothing special about Abraham. There was nothing special about Isaac. There is certainly nothing special about Jacob. Yet here he is, the son of promise, the grandson of promise, passing through the land of promise. And he is met by the God who makes outrageous promises to totally ordinary people. And did you notice the pillow that he slept on? We need to remember that soft, fluffy pillows are a very recent innovation and are a bit symbolic of our pampered culture. Unlike us Westerners, Jacob was quite able to get to sleep with his head on a rock. The rock meant nothing to him beyond his need to put his head on something as he slept. He was passing through a place that meant nothing to him beyond his need to get through it in order to reach his destination. But God met him there and showed him that this seemingly meaningless place was in fact a place of communication between heaven and earth. And that rock pillow becomes an altar to remind Jacob and others that God was there. God is not limited by church buildings and what we generally consider to be sacred space. God can meet people anywhere, and the most ordinary of objects can reveal God's presence to us. That is a comforting truth. As long as you want to be with God. But as the author of Psalm 139 recounts, it is a scary truth if you are trying to escape from God. Why would you do that? Well, I've met lots of people who want to escape from God. People who won't come through a church door because that angry, vengeful God that they were taught about might drop a ceiling panel on them. People trying to escape an angry God would like to think that God can be safely contained in special buildings and will leave the rest of the world alone. But it's not like that. Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle on the furthest limits of the sea, even there. Though I climb to the top of the sky tower, though I ride a whale off Stradbroke Island, or drink a 4X at the Birdsville pub, even there, there are no secular spaces. God can find us anywhere, which can be scary if you believe in a scary God. But as the author of Psalm 139 discovers, partway through this journey of trying to get away from God, that when the God you can't escape catches up with you, it will not be to hurt you, but to guide you, to hold you safe, and to turn your darkness into light. Just like God kept meeting Abraham and Sarah and their descendants, and as messed up as they all were, whenever God met them, God blessed them. We might want to stamp our feet and say, what did they ever do to deserve God's blessing? To which God would laugh and say, well, when did I ever say anything about deserving? You can't escape from God, but that's okay because, well, why would you want to escape from protection, provision, and blessing? Why would you want to escape from love? Real, genuine love. In the Gospel reading, Matthew gives us a lot of examples of how wisdom can be found by contemplating nature. Why is there evil in the world? Why doesn't God just get rid of it? Well, philosophers could argue over that for centuries, and they have. Or you can go have a look in your garden, and you can notice that sometimes there are weeds that can't be killed without. Maybe you've sometimes been tempted to douse your whole garden in Roundup to get rid of all those nasty weeds once and for all, but you haven't done it because there are precious plants that would be killed along with the weeds. Why does God allow evil? Well, would you have God smite all the evil people with bolts of lightning? Would that actually make the world better? Even evil people have mothers who love them. And for those mothers, from their perspective, that's smiting. And what about those shadowy places in each of our hearts where that last little weed of evil has managed to hide from the light of Christ? How is God to destroy that without destroying all that is good in us? A time will come for harvest when all will be dealt with, but until then we endure the weeds for the sake of the wheat. Wisdom is not always found when our hands are holding a book. I'm fond of books, it often is, but sometimes it's discovered when our hands are in the soil. And so we come to our reading from Romans. One of the most beautiful statements in all of human literature about the relationship between humanity and the rest of creation. So I will read it again. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the children of God, for the creation was subjected to futility in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay and will obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning in labor pains until now. And not only creation, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly while we wait for adoption, the redemption of our bodies. The world is not as it should be. We are in pain, and our world is in pain. In recent years, we have been starkly reminded that what first century readers would have known all too well, that those horsemen of the apocalypse in the book of Revelations, tyranny, violence, market inequity, and death, they're not signs of the end, and no one in the first century would have thought they were. They are perennial features of life on this planet. Individually, we endure grief and anxiety, but this is not because we are in a battle with nature to bring it into submission to our superior humanity. It's because humanity is not as we should be, not as we will be when we are all grown up. In pain and redemption, we are connected and interconnected. The world is groaning because of us. And we are groaning because life is hard. God the Son, as one of us, groaned in agony in the garden and on the cross. And the Spirit of God continues to groan within us. All of this groaning, humanity, God and all creation, all of us. But it's not unproductive pain. These are labor pains. New life is on its way. New creation, redemption, not just of our souls, but of our bodies. And with our bodies, the whole physical world. This has been the Christian hope for 2,000 years and the Jewish hope for long before that. And we are grateful to Indigenous communities around the world for reminding us of what we have always believed, of what God has specifically revealed in Jesus, but also revealed in fragmentary wisdom scattered across time. There is no such thing as secular space. Wisdom can be found anywhere, and God can find you wherever you might hide. But that's okay, because by bringing each of us to full maturity in Christ, God is redeeming the whole world so that every single cubic centimeter of the universe will celebrate when fully redeemed and matured humanity take our place as custodians in humble service of creation. So, as you attend to the groaning of creation this week, may you hear advanced echoes of the eternal celebration into which we are all called. Amen.